Welcome to Grid Live Pre-Race. We got a lot to talk about. NASCAR Cup Series, the Hollywood Casinos 400 at Kansas Speedway. Joe San Diego here. Very excited to welcome you to the show today. Big thank you to our Patreon investors calling the show, Mark, Ron, David, and Matthew, who are invested in the Grid Network each and every month. Let's get right started. Big thing we got to talk about is when it comes to NASCAR Cup Series at Kansas Speedway. This is kicking out the round of 12. Great big opportunity reset for all the drivers in the playoffs. And one of the big things I think is very interesting about Kansas Speedway. We know this is one of the more newer facilities. First race, 2001. Considering we are coming off from the Bristol race weekend. Race weekend, a lot of people felt let down. I think it would have been really hard if you were to tell somebody from 2002 and beyond that, hey, going with Kansas is going to someday be more popular than Bristol, than Richmond, that short tracks will be struggling, but you're going to love the Speedway. I think a lot of people would have said, you're crazy. But Kansas Speedway, this track, it has delivered great races. We have seen plenty of competition. Of course, the photo finish from earlier this year has got a lot of people excited about this race. And overall, Kansas Speedway, I think, is one of the newer tracks that truly deserves two dates. The playoff date, regular season date. Cannot wait to see what happens in the Hollywood Casino 400, which is going to be kicking out the round of 12. And this is going to be a very important race for the 12 drivers in the playoffs. You got Kansas. On paper, it looks like the track where you could control your destiny the most. 1.5 mile oval. You got a lot less unpredictable factors like a Talladega compared to the Roval. But this is still a treacherous track. It's so hard to get a win here. The competition's top level. Just about anybody could win. The competition level is intense, not just on the restarts, but throughout the green flag runs. If we have a long green flag run, you're going to see pit stop strategy become an issue. You got to be near perfect to win this race. And if Chris Buescher could tell you, that's being near perfect all the way to the starting finish line on the front race at Kansas Speedway. Chris Buescher, had he gotten that win, he would have been in the playoffs. That was not meant to happen. He still got to win Watkins Glen. A lot of people asking what could have been if he had just squeezed out Kyle Larson. When you look at DraftKings.com, Kyle Larson's at 320, the favorite to win this race, and this is before qualifying. Chris Buescher, plus 1,800. Depending on how he does in qualifying, I'm going to be looking at Chris Buescher. I think he has a good opportunity here. He is fast. I think this is a good opportunity for his teammate Brad Keselowski to rebound as well, have a good race, show that unfortunately just what was a tough first round for Brad Keselowski. It will cost him to be out of the race for the playoffs championship. And overall, you look at the drivers in the playoffs, all of them really good. All of them have gotten at least one win in the regular season, but coming in below the cut line, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, They are -4, 6, and the last two at -7 points. So single digits. Stage points could get them out of the cut line below it. Get a stage win, they could be ahead. If a driver ahead of them gets bad luck, they could be up there. So this is going to be a very interesting race for those four. One driver I'm looking out at, Alex Bowman. If Alex Bowman has a good race, and as I said last Sunday, if he could go out there and win this race, he would put himself in such a huge spot. Because let's be honest, when you come to the Hendrick Motorsports team, Alex Bowman's always seen as that fourth driver. But he had a great opening round of the playoffs. Bristol got the pole, strong race, didn't make any mistakes. Here he comes with his opportunity. If he has a strong qualifying effort, goes out there and can somehow bring home a win for that 48 Ally team, think of the implications. You don't have to worry about Talladega, in which case Talladega, if your car starts, you have a good shot at winning. And the Roval, you have to be just about perfect and really good on the road course, which he got to win on the Chicago street course, but I don't anticipate Bowman wanting to be in a must-win situation at the Roval. So if he could bypass those two stressful race weekends, he could be in a really good spot for the round of 8, where he could easily be one step ahead because if you could get that win in Kansas, you could focus on the next 3 races after the round of 12 into the round of 8. And I think Alex Bowman is one of those drivers that could potentially pull off a big win this weekend. And if he does that, is in the round of 8, I think there's a very good shot he could try and surprise his way in the championship 4. Austin Cindric, he needs to have a good run. And I think overall, when you look at the Penske Fords, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, all of them have good opportunities this race weekend. One of the big questions I think a lot of folks are going to be watching, what can Joey Logano do this race weekend? He has his streak on the even number of years he gets to the championship 4. A lot of people are wondering, how would he do in the playoffs? Well, he opened the playoffs with a win. That secured him to this round. Now he needs to go out there and get another win, in my opinion. He can't just point race. This is a great track for him to get that one. He has won here before, including the playoffs. That infamous moment where he spun Matt Kenseth in what Brian France called quintessential NASCAR. Joey Logano has to go out there and get a win. I think this is his best track to do it. Don't count on Talladega. He knows how to win there too. And especially with the 3 Penske drivers that they can work together at Talladega, they'll be hard to beat. But Joey Logano, I think out of 3 of them, with Blaney and Cindric, I think he has the best shot to do it. Ryan Blaney just needs to have a good race, good finish, get rid of some of this bad luck. What has happened to him lately has just been dreadful. Overall, it's going to be a fun day of racing for everyone. Chase Briscoe, that's one driver not to count out. I think he could go out there. That Stewart-Haas racing team has been making some big surprises, big moves throughout the race of the playoffs. He has a plus 4,000. That is quite low. But if he has a strong qualifying effort, that team could put together a fast car like they did at Darlington, and he could go out there and get the win. Especially we have a shootout of, I would say, 20 or 30 laps, where it's not too much of a long green flag run, but we're not talking about a green-white checkered. If he's in the top 4, he could be aggressive. He can make some moves and find himself up there contending for the win. Some of the other playoff drivers I think people got to really talk about, the Toyota drivers. We only have 2 Joe Gibbs drivers, Chris Bell, Denny Hamlin, and then from 2311, Tyler Reddick. Now, for Bell, Reddick, they come on 24-20 above the cut line. That seems pretty good, considering that is essentially if you get 2 stage wins, that's 20 points. I anticipate Toyota to have a good race. Those 3 drivers I think will be really hard to beat. We know 2311 has been good at this speedway. Bubba Wallace has won here. Tyler Reddick has won here. They could easily see Tyler Reddick in victory lane. Tyler Reddick, though, when it comes to the favorites, he is third behind Denny Hamlin at plus 650. Denny Hamlin at plus 550. And of course, Kyle Larson, the favorite, at plus 320. Christopher Bell, let's see what he does at the Speedway. I think overall, he has improved. I think he has a better approach so far this year. It just always seems to be a case where something goes a little bit wrong, something doesn't go that great, or he just doesn't exactly have the speed like he needs to be up there with the others. So overall, Christopher Bell, I think when it comes to Toyota's drivers, he's probably the 3rd Toyota driver I would look at winning. I would not see him really ahead of Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick unless those 2 have bad luck. But at 850, Christopher Bell, always a driver to watch. Let's go with William Byron, the other Hendrick driver. Him, Chase Elliott, they enter above the cut line, but William Byron has been very quiet lately. Just seems to be doing nothing. At Bristol, he said they just really struggled. He cannot struggle no more. I think this is a good track for him to break out, potentially get a win. If anything, at least a good, strong points day at plus 14 in the NASCAR playoffs. If he could get some stage points and a solid finish, he should easily stay above, because I see him finishing ahead of Chase Elliott. I think William Byron is a better driver at Kansas Speedway compared to Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, He did have a very good run here this last time. He's been quiet too, but I just think Rudy Fugle, William Byron, they're going to be very strong from the Hendricks group. Now, outside the playoffs, we know there's Ty Gibbs, Martin Truex, Brett Keselowski, Harrison Burton. Out of those four drivers, I am actually watching what Martin Truex Jr. does. Because as I mentioned, Chase Elliott behind Chris Buescher and Kyle Larson photo finish, you had Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr., if he has a good, clean race, this is different than Atlanta. He could not worry about the big pack. Very different from Watkins Glen. And it's not Bristol, where he was strong until a pit stop penalty ruined his day. I think Martin Truex Jr. could shock everyone and potentially go out there and get a win. He has a fast car like he showed last race weekend. I think he's ready to show I can at least get another top 10 finish. But I think he could go all out. I think he's a potential to go out there and get the win. Ty Gibbs will be really interesting to see what he does. The big thing with Ty Gibbs is just that this is his second season. He might be a bit more aggressive trying to get the race win, but overall, I think he's just getting better and better throughout the season. Now, let's talk about the bottom four drivers I anticipate at the end of this round. Last round, I got 2 out of the 4. The 2 I got correctly was Harrison Burton and Martin Truex Jr. So, which 4 do I think are going to be the bottom 4? Considering we have Talladega and the Charlotte Roval, I think it's going to be very unpredictable round. This is going to be the race where every driver feels like they're in a must-win situation because you cannot anticipate just going to Talladega, having a strong car, and just getting the win. That's not easy. And the Roval, we got a new layout in the Roval too, so that's going to really make things a lot more interesting. Starting off, I think Austin Cindric is going to be in a little bit of trouble. He is negative 4 points below the cut line. I don't see him getting a win here. He could get a win at Talladega, but that's the thing. Could. I mean, heck, anybody could get the win in Talladega. And then the Roval, if he's in a situation where he's way below the cut line, I just don't see it happening. I think the win at Gateway, we all know the circumstances of that. Blaney running out of fuel. He's getting around. He's had some good races here and there, but I think for Austin Cindric, his playoff run will come to an end in this round. Alex Bowman, if he doesn't win in this race at Kansas Speedway, in my opinion, I think he's going to be done. Alex Bowman, Talladega, again, you could win there, you could not win there. Charlotte Roval, I don't see him being contender there. Alex Bowman has some stiff competition ahead of him. The only way he's going to get out of this round is if he wins at Kansas or Talladega. But I'm putting him as in the bottom 4. Then Chase Briscoe, as much as I think it's been great to see what he's been doing, he could have a solid run here at Kansas Speedway. But one of the things we haven't seen from Chase Briscoe in a while, and hopefully we don't, but it could strike back, when he seems to get to a point where he's behind the ball, trying to play catch up, or he makes that overly aggressive moves and cause a crash. He hasn't done that in a really long time. He's been maturing a lot. But I think it's going to end in this round too. I think Chase Briscoe will be eliminated. So Cindric, Bowman, Briscoe, the last pick I got, and I think might be a little bit of a surprise for everyone. If he doesn't get the win, I think Chase Elliott's going to be in trouble. Chase Elliott is no joke. You look at Bowman, you look at Larson, those are the top 2. Elliott has been there. He could have a strong run here, but remember, he's only 6 points above the cut line. Talladega, he could have a strong run there too. He could be in great shape. But you get in the wrong spot, the wrong place, you're out of the race. The Charlotte Roval, he has won there before. But that race is so competitive. We all saw years ago how he was almost taken out by Kevin Harvick at that race. Just barely stayed in. So this is going to be a very hard round for Chase Elliott. I think Kyle Larson and William Byron are going to easily outperform him. Bell, Reddick, they're easily up there. Logano or Blaney. So that's already I'm talking about 6 drivers. So already we're looking at Chase Elliott being that bottom half. And I think, surprise, surprise, I think he's going to be eliminated from this round of the playoffs. Chase Elliott, right now, entering at plus 1200 to win the race here at Kansas Speedway. With that said, let's go ahead and get into pick a winner. We got NASCAR at Kansas Speedway plus MotoGP, their main Grand Prix at Thailand. Overall, when it comes to the NASCAR Cup Series, I got to go with the favorite. He won last weekend. I think he's showing he's strong. He's hard to beat. Unless he gets caught up in a crash, especially with like Denny Hamlin or something, I think Kyle Larson is going to go out there, get this win. When it comes to MotoGP over in Thailand, I think we're going to see another great race. This track has been really fun to watch the racing, and I'm going to go with the pole sitter. Jorge Martin, in my opinion, is going to get this win, continue leading the championship, and trying to put Pecca Bagnaia in a situation to make a mistake. Those are my pick for pick winners. Just a friendly reminder, tomorrow we'll be on the air approximately 90 minutes following the end of the NASCAR Cup Series race. Be sure to subscribe to us right here on the Grid Network. I'm Joe Samniego. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time and enjoy the races.